operative went into Germany. This is like 1939. He didn't believe this, but there was very strange organizations and different research groups all over, not just Germany, but in the occupied countries too. And strangely enough, Germany was putting in production fantastic vehicles. They didn't have wings on these aircraft. They didn't have empennage or tails. They had landing gears. Some of them were triangular shaped. Some were rectangular shaped. Some were round shaped, like a saucer. And so he, being a spy for the Navy, found out all of these fantastic situations that were going on inside of Germany. And this is an important point. Instead of him going to his boss, coming back to the United States, he went directly to the Secretary of the Navy, Forrestal. Forrestal gets tapped on the shoulder. He gets told, don't select a Navy officer to head up these operatives. What? He's told to select somebody who had never been in Annapolis. Now, almost every Navy officer, whether they're a one-star or a lieutenant commander, they've all been through Annapolis to learn how to be a Navy officer. It turns out Forrestal is told that every book in the libraries, every book in the colleges, every book in the universities, every book on this planet is misinformation. It's misinformation. So, which is initiated by the Draco reptilians as far back as 6,000 years ago.
The reptilians really came into control and started to be able to manipulate what was going on the face of the planet about 6,000 to 7,000 years ago. It is true that they have different masking technologies to be able to be in a room and look like a human, but usually they're in underground bases in various places on the globe, as well as in a huge area in Antarctica. The southeast region has a large number of underground caverns that are kept extremely warm, too warm for humans, by geothermal heat. It's a perfect place for all of these colonies that the reptilians have. They're basically cities, huge cities with millions of them.
So, the Secretary of the Navy selects Rick Abada. He's not even an American. He comes over here with his family. He goes to school here. He goes to the second year in high school. He leaves school. He joins the Navy as a third-class seaman, works his way up in the Navy. Now he's a commander, okay? That commander is selected by the Secretary of the Navy to head up all of these operatives to go back into Germany and find out what's going on. Because that individual had never had misinformation given to him about every technical field on the planet.
Everything we learn in the establishment-controlled education systems is specifically designed to program our minds away from the truth. Physics is wrong. Medicine is wrong. History is wrong. everything we are taught in textbooks is mainly wrong. And this is done purposefully so we don't understand how to move our bodies, how to feed our bodies, what really happened in the past, what technology can really do these days. All of these things, if we learn them, would help us empower ourselves, would help us actually understand what's really going on with our reality.
Now, if you were to go to San Diego and look over at North Island, you're going to see a tall building like this. There's a small office in the top of that building, which is a secret office for the admiral. This is where the operatives come to. So the admiral's aide comes to my barracks, taps me on the shoulder, and he only says one word: he's here. We drive over to that building, we get up to the top, we go into this conference room, a small room. Admiral Riccabata sits here, I sit here, and one of 3 other bosses that I have are all captains. So now I have 3 captains as bosses, and now a 2-star admiral. He just got another raise. Wow. He just came back from Lockheed. He just came back from Scripps Institute. He just came back from all the aircraft company. Wow. Now he's got these operatives coming in. So the operative sits on the other side of the table. He discloses to us these fantastic things that Germany is doing that make no sense. Now I have 8 girls and 3 PhDs as a group. We put together a package from what the operative brings back. Some of it is photographs. Once in a while, it's a manual, hardly any manual. A couple of manuals were not even in English, German, or any other language. They were extraterrestrial hieroglyphics. You see all of this stuff. You hear it. You understand what the Germans are doing. They didn't just get documents from the extraterrestrials. They got brand spanking new space vehicles. Here's one. Here's another one. Here's. They brought these. They take you inside. They show you how to drive it. So they put me in a secret laboratory, which is designing not flying wings like Northrop does, okay? These are just a fuselage with no wings and no tail. Half airplane, half spaceships. This is what Northrop was designing. Our first spaceships are U.S. Navy attack class submarines. We put together programs that went all the way out into the galaxy, not just this galaxy.
The military-industrial complex, back when they were testing a lot of the technology that they had received from the Nazis after World War II, as well as from ETs, when they were doing proof of concept testing, they had attached this technology to a regular submarine, and then they flew it out of our atmosphere. That was the first time that they were really able to fly a vessel out of our atmosphere using electrogravitic technology. The reason that they used a submarine was, of course, because they were self-enclosed. The crews that served on them were used to serving 6 months or more away from home, having all of their supplies with them. And they had the psychology of being able to handle those tight quarters for such a long time. The technology developed to a point to where they developed the finances, this financial schemes, to begin to build out fleets of these long cigar-shaped craft. Some of them were kilometer long or longer, and they could make them longer by putting in sections. And the sections were modular, just like in modern submarines. They could take apart the fuselage and pull out sections. It could, one of these modules could be set for like 3 or 4 months as a laboratory for a bunch of different scientific programs. And then at its next time at port, the modules are swapped out, and then it's a hospital ship. The modules swapped out the next time, and it's a troop transport, or it's just a long-haul freighter. So these ships are very modular, and in the beginning, they were using power systems that were nuclear. Then they moved to thorium type of electrical generation, and then they moved to some sort of zero-point electrical generation. And that is what they currently use.
This is totally unreal that this happened like in 1942 on this planet. Extraterrestrial come from who knows where out in the galaxy. Germany gets to be the country that these Draco reptilians pick out to do two types of missions. One, to remove all of the people that Hitler didn't want in his country, and every one of them around the planet. Two, to take every man, woman, and child on this planet and put them in slave factories, men, women, and children, to build and construct all these different types of Draco Navy space battle group ships. This may sound like insanity. This is what happened.
He had concluded from what these insiders were telling him that the Germans had actually made treaties with a highly aggressive and highly negative reptilian humanoid race that they've called the Saurians or the Draco. This treaty involved the Nazis actually being given workable technology that is built with our own conventional systems. They use a sort of mercury turbine, a type of mercury called red mercury. And then they are actually able to leave the Earth. They had a settlement on the moon, they had a settlement on Mars, and they were doing this stuff as early as 1939, even before World War II actually started. As you can imagine, everybody was thinking he was crazy, but yet these insiders were reporting literally standing there, in which you have 8-foot tall, even 12 to 14-foot tall reptilian extraterrestrials, terrifying in appearance, they smell bad, actually advising the Germans on how to build this stuff in these various bases, including that in Antarctica.
Operation High Jump was an operation commissioned in 1947 that was led by Admiral Richard Byrd. And on the public level, it was said that this was a scientific exploration. But what happened was that this operation was commissioned with 33 ships, 13 aircraft, and 5,000 men. Now, this was not a scientific exploration with that many men and that many ships. What Operation High Jump actually was commissioned for was to go down to Antarctica and basically root out the Nazi installations that they had built pre and during World War II. The DC flyover was an event that occurred over successive weekends in July of 1952 in Washington, DC. And what had happened was that there was a mass sighting right over the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. There was many lights in the sky. Now, many people believe that this was a UFO or an extraterrestrial incident, but in fact, it was not. It was German saucers, German craft that were flying over the Capitol building and essentially forcing the hand of the Americans to accept many of these Nazi scientists into their control structures. When many of these Nazi scientists came into America after World War II in Operation Paperclip, they infiltrated into basically every power structure in the United States, government, media, medical systems, basically everything. After World War II, James Forrestal went to Germany to tour many of the research facilities that the Germans had over in Europe, and John F. Kennedy actually accompanied him on those tours. Some believe that Kennedy was actually given information by Forrestal about secret space programs and the UFO phenomenon. And near the end of James Forrestal's career, He was also embroiled in many policy struggles within the United States government. He wanted to disclose the UFO phenomenon and the technologies associated with it. It was said that he committed suicide by jumping out of a high-rise hospital that he was staying in at the time of his death. But of course, many people are also believing that he was actually pushed out of the window and in fact assassinated to prevent him from working to disclose these technologies in UFO projects.
They had a really troubled Eisenhower that passed over the torch over to Kennedy, before leaving his famous speech of, beware of the misplaced powers when the industrial military complex, and that only an alert and knowledgeable citizenry can protect our future liberties and freedoms. Kennedy, with his background in Office of Naval Intelligence, and documents show that he was aware all the way back to 1942 of operations happening. Kennedy had Alan Dulles as the CIA director. Finding the nefarious activities that Alan Dulles was doing, he eventually fired Dulles and was replaced with John McCone. Because Kennedy was trying to look into these activities, Alan Dulles set up an assassination directive that was revealed in what was called the Byrne Memo, one of James Jesus Angleton's memos that they were attempting to try to destroy all. One intelligence operative was able to pull it, basically saying that Lancer, or the code word for JFK, has been looking into our activities. This we must not allow. This group was working with the group that was with the Treaty of 1955. So when Kennedy put forth a top secret document to the CIA director looking into the MJ-12 and CIA operations with the extraterrestrial, he was silenced with an assassination 10 days later. Years went by. By the way, the Warren Commission, which, Kennedy's famous piece of infiltrated monolithic conspiracy and beware of the dangers of secrecy and secret societies. Ironically, the Warren Commission, who said, we have a lone gunman that did this, was all made up of 33rd degree Freemasons. And afterward, the CIA put out a memorandum to its operatives to use the term conspiracy theorists for anybody questioning, and it's used today as a common ploy to discredit people who are questioning the situation.
The closest we ever came to having technologies and the existence of non-terrestrials go public was actually in 1962-63. I am told through Alliance sources that President Kennedy was indeed going to make some announcements, and also make announcements that he was going to take drastic steps against some of these secret societies that were running the planet. Therefore, they worked through the CIA to have him eliminated. When he was eliminated in a very public way, the cabal came into power in a very public way. They had been controlling things very covertly up until that point. But since then, they have overtly controlled the destiny of the United States.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweighed the dangers which are cited to justify it. Even today, there is little value in opposing the threat of a closed society by imitating its arbitrary restrictions. And there is very grave danger that in announced need for increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment. That I do not intend to permit to the extent that it's in my control.
Lucifer just means pineal gland, light bringer. Lucifer. Lucifer, the light bringer. This means pineal gland. Satan, Sutan, means the base of the spine, the top of the spine and the base of the skull, which is medulla oblongata, the mouth of God. Satan, get behind me. This is the symbol of Satan gets behind me, which is, in Egypt, the Christ is Horus. Har-Sut. Sut is the ancient word for set, and set on Har-Sut. Sut is behind him, which is the melanin, or which is the black cloud where your light seed or your soul is housed in a black cloud inside of you. That's called a cosmic universe. God and the devil in Job is one and the same. The word devil comes from the word diabos, and the word diabos is an ancient word for double, and it's talking about your double nature or your double soul or your double self. You get it? See? You see? Your double self. You see? Jacob wrestled with the angel all night, which is the blackness. And in the day, he saw, in the morning when daybreak, he saw what? Pineal, which was called what? The face of God, which is the Christ. The great face in ancient Greece is called Horus. In ancient Egypt is Heru, the great face of God. You see, this is metaphysical terminology. So if I'm going to get, like I said, I made the scenario the last time. So I'm going to come up to you and say, well, I worship a Hebrew Christ too. You know, I'm a Hebrew, black Hebrew, and a month come up to me some nigga from Greece, or from Rome. I worship a Hebrew Christ too. He the Messiah. Or what's his name? Our Messiah's name is Metatron. Adoni. Got several names for the Messiah. Shekinah. That's the Messiah. What's yours? Jesus. That's like me coming up to you and saying, I worship a black Christ too. What's the name of your Christ? And you go to Dumb Child Pain. That's why you don't see no ancient Hebrews ever believed in that bullshit. But as far as the book, the scriptures come from all over the world. They put them all together. Right. Take Jesus out and put yourself in there and you break the mystery to the Bible. You are the Christ that the book is talking about. King of Kings and Lord of Lords. That's you. What's that, brother?
About the, that's why the Jews don't, they still waiting on the Messiah.
Right.
Before the book, we said with Jesus.
Right, they still waiting on the Messiah because all the ancient cultures had something called eschatology, which means that the Messiah don't come until the end of the world. He don't come no 2,000 years ago get his ass killed. Now what do they mean by the second coming? He had come thousands of years before as Osiris, Dionysus, Set. And he'd fallen down to the lowest part of the earth, which is called hell. We are the fallen gods, or the fallen angels. And the second coming is he second coming back into his Christhood. We fell from the heavens, or we got trapped in a physical body. Our second coming is you coming again to your Christhood. You used to be called a race full of Christ. They used to call them the Nephilim in the Bible, the giants. But they fell, which means they gathered a physical body. Let me explain. Listen. So it wasn't that Jesus got crucified 2,000 years ago on a cross and all that old bullshit. That's garbage. Your cross is your body. You fell into the physical body. You fell into your cross. As I say, bear your cross. You fell into your body. As the human race became more and more addicted to the world of senses and appearances, the physical world, the inner celestial vision, which is your third eye, and the world of the divine body with its divine human soul faded. They lost their inner vision as a kind of spiritual amnesia. Can be said to have led back to the dismembering of the Lord's body and merely the natural consciousness of mankind. Thus Eden disappeared from the human consciousness to become merely a myth. The divine man could be said to have disappeared again beneath the water of external phenomena of the world. So what happened was this. At one time, we were radiating on an advanced divine level. And what you call the invisible world or the unseen real that they tell you to have faith in was visible. It was a whole nother damn party room. And you was the damn leaders of it. Doing what the hell you wanted because you were God. It fell. And as it fell, we became more and more physically into the physical realm. And the spiritual world started becoming the spiritual world, or what you call the invisible world now, which is the real world, Eden or heaven, started becoming dim. At one time, the physical world was dim, which is an illusion. And as you fell, the physical world became more visible, and you started depending on these two eyes, which is a cheat, and the spiritual world became invisible. And you get that in dreams now. That's the key. You get it in the dream world, and you get it in what you call visions. But you also get it every day in your thoughts. That's, you just don't, you get the most miraculous shit. You ever you walk over there and have a thought, you be like, wow. Right. But you've been taught that don't listen to your thoughts, because that's all fucked up. And don't talk to yourself.
You can also read minds.
Yeah, you can read, don't talk to yourself. Start back talking to yourself. Because the physical doesn't exist. It's only a slowed down vibratory rate. The real self is on the inside, so when you talk to yourself, you're becoming more and more unconscious in identifying with that true self, which is yourself. So this is why I tell you don't talk to yourself. But every time you get by yourself, you talk by your damn self. Somebody come in the damn room, what you do? I was singing. Why do you talk to yourself? You know what I'm saying? You be walking down the street, I'm going to take care of this shit right now. That's right. I'm going to take care of this shit right now. Well, wait till I get there. Who the hell you talking to? But you drumming up enough energy now because you really talking to yourself. Because you don't give a damn who hearing you. Every time you get confused, the first thing you do is what? You close your eyes like this, and when you open it, you say, okay, I got it now. That's the subconsciousness. That's the hell of what they call a mentor. That's where Satan is, which is Lucifer, the pineal gland. Everything is backwards. Everything. If we're 180 degrees from the truth, then the religion can't be the damn truth either, because it's a religion. It's explaining something that's spiritual wrong. It's explaining something, it's only explaining something spiritual wrong to keep you in bondage and a system to keep you in slavery. The religion can't listen. What is the religion of the United States of America? Christianity. I don't give a fuck what you say. Christianity. It's on the damn dollar bill. Now, how in the hell is the United States of America, the most vicious society ever damn ruled the damn earth, can have official religion where they tell you in God we trust? If the religion was so pure, it couldn't be along with the society. John Henry Clark said if they practiced real Christianity or real democracy, they wouldn't be in business for a damn day. Shit would fold overnight. Because that means they have to do what they want to do. They have to do what they're supposed to do. Remember this. The government cannot afford to bring you real spirituality on TV set. Now, if you get cable, they got about 400 damn preachers on there talking that bullshit. Now, I want to show you something spiritual here. This is a country with different races. All kind of people. Cape Verdeans. All kind of boat people from damn Vietnam and Cambodia and all kind of damn people from all over the world. And they tell you it's a melting pot. You ever notice something? Why is it you turn on the TV set and you ain't got but one religion that they show, basically? They just might show a little bit of people in the damn mosque, but basically for most of the thing, it's one religion. That don't make no sense. Think about it. You see what I'm saying? You saying it's a melting pot. Why you don't even have the respect for the people who buying the damn cable that might have studied some other shit some other place? They never, so I'm just saying, why is it you don't never get none of that? The TV can't afford to give you the damn truth. So if the preacher is #1 on the TV, he's spreading the false religion and the false messiah. Christianity is the false religion. Not the scriptures. Christianity is. The religion of Christianity is false. The scriptures is a combination of all kind of things. And you can read what the hell you want up in there. You can find all kind of shit up in there. Including the white man, the damn devil. It's in Deuteronomy. Say that you'll be something about you'll be controlled by a people who are not a people. You see what I'm saying? It's tons of stuff up in there. There's one in Revelation 2:10. It says, now Revelation is supposed to be a book of the end time.